What is up, everybody? HRS late nights. I'm Tony Cutillo. As always, been a while, man. It's been a while since we came on here and kind of talked about, whether it be sports, whether it be talk. And again, make sure you give us a follow at Heat Ratio Sports. You can follow me at Rise with Tony. If you're on Facebook right now, follow the Heat Ratio Sports page, YouTube, obviously, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, wherever you get your podcast from. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. And most importantly, if you didn't hear me earlier, because you're not on that platform, but if you're into youth sports and talk about mental health when it comes to youth sports, Fighting for Overtime is my all new podcast. Make sure you're checking it out wherever your podcasts are. Now, I got a good question here. I figure, you know what? Let's talk about this. I want to talk about it. I'm so tired of talking about the same stuff over and over and over again. Right. I'm so tired of clicking on things and hearing about the Philly streak and hearing about should we be concerned? Are the Eagles, is Jalen Hurts going to be the guy? I'm so sick of the dumb shit constantly. That's all we talk about anymore. It's the same thing over and over and over again. I get it. It's important, but at the same time, some of it is just trash. And I just want to know, honestly, I wholeheartedly, because I'm a pretty transparent person. I want to know, and if you're listening to this right now, I want you to check in live, put it in the comments, because I'm really curious. I'm really curious, okay, if you still listen to the radio. Do you still listen to the radio, whether you're in New York, whether you're in Philadelphia, whether no matter what market you're in? I'm just curious. Are you listening to the radio? And if so, who are you listening to? What program are you listening to? Because there's a very small percentage of listenable people, in my opinion. Okay. And one of the biggest things I want to touch on is we have to stop letting them take advantage of our passion. And if you don't think that these stations are taking advantage of our passion, you're crazy. You're crazy. That's what they're doing. They're taking advantage of our passion. They're taking advantage of the Phillies sport passion because they know if they fabricate an argument, guess what? You're going to listen. If they fabricate a statement, they know you're going to listen. If you come off with some off the wall, ridiculous takes like Joe Giglio, they know that they're going to follow you and they're going to call in and they're going to, oh, listen, there's no secret here. Okay. There's no secret. I'm tired of the secrets. I'm tired of the same stuff over and over again. It continues down the same path. And it's not getting any better. And guess what? We're all doing the same damn thing. We're all buying in. We're all buying in and we're clicking and we're listening and listen, you can follow me all day long, man, at Rise with Tony, wherever you want to follow me, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, doesn't matter. I don't care. Okay. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to tell you the people I like. I'm going to tell you the people I don't like. You may disagree, which is fine. We agree, we disagree. Hey, A2D, make sure you check it out. Me and Tom Arnone tomorrow night. No notes with a little heat. Yeah, who knows what we're going to be talking about? But again, good stuff. And we watch these programs day in and day out. And I really have to scratch my head and think, do they even prepare? Do some of them even prepare? Like, I know for myself, do a show every Sunday night. Sirius Satellite Radio, Channel 87, Fantasy Sports Radio Channel. I get the sheet on Tuesday for a Sunday show. I'm looking up stats. I'm figuring out what kind of votes. Not like, hey, is Jalen Hurts going to be good this year? Like, are you kidding me? Like my son could have done that when he was in 5th grade. Okay, it's there's no thought behind it. There's nothing. But again, the problem is we buy in. The problem is we listen. The problem is we click. The problem is we retweet. I've done it a few times. But what would happen if we all stood together? What would happen if we all stood together and we finally put our foot down and we're like, no, not doing it. Not going to do it anymore. What do you think would happen? Because that's my point. Like, what if we all decided to stick together and we all decided that no matter what, we were going to say, you know what? No more. No more. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what kind of reception we would get. Because here's the thing, you know, I think we all know, I think we all know that the easy way to bump your ratings in Philadelphia, especially if your show sucks, if you could bump your ratings, it's very simple. Look what happened yesterday. Are we really believing that a veteran radio host with a veteran program director really looked at the argument of having Trey Turner play the outfield so we could keep Edmundo Sosa on the field more? You're kidding me, right? Like, somebody really thought that was a good idea. Somebody really thought that was a great argument. No, not for the right reasons, but for the wrong reasons. Because that person, okay, who came up with that went to the program director. And what do you think the program director said? Yeah, they'll suck that up. They'll love it. They'll suck it up. Phones will be ringing off the wall. They don't care about you, man. They care about numbers. That's it. They care about numbers. The numbers that feed the sponsors. The numbers that feed the advertisers. And do you think they really care about the advertisers? Do you? I say this all the time. They don't, but they need the numbers. So I'm curious if you're happy, because there's a lot of people that complain and there's a lot of people that continue to go up against it and say, oh, I don't listen, I don't do this, I don't do that. But they continue to fuel the numbers. And as long as they're happy with that, that's fine. Like, I listen to a few shows. You see what I do. I say all the time, give me Rob Ellis all day long. I listen to Rob Ellis. I love Rob Ellis. Rob Ellis doesn't fabricate arguments. Rob Ellis comes on, he gives you his opinion. He tells you what he thinks, but it's a professional opinion. It's an opinion that you could tell he's very passionate about, right? Now, Bob Cooney, a guy who's done it, a guy who's been in locker rooms, a guy who's been on the beat, a guy who's talked to players, not some knucklehead that just wants to get some clicks. No, like real life stories, real world opinions. That's what I'm about. And again, I'll listen to that. I enjoy that. But when you start doing things that anybody can see that is ridiculous, anybody can see that there's nowhere for this in radio. It's a shame, because you're taking the passion of Philadelphia fans and you're shitting on it, man. In my opinion, that's what you're doing. You're grabbing everything that we make our names on. You're grabbing it, you're chewing it up, and you're spitting it out. That's not that is definitely not what you're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be priding on ourselves on being the most educated fan base in America. How can we be educated if the stations that we want to listen to won't even educate us at all? We have to educate them. But again, we buy in. See, I don't listen to radio a lot anymore. I don't. I listen to a lot of really good podcasts around specific topics. Listen, if I want to talk about the Phillies, if I want, I'll talk about it myself. If I want to hear about the Phillies, I mean, honestly, where you're not going to be able to hear about the Phillies, you can hear about the Phillies anywhere. It's football, so you hear about the Phillies, Eagles. What Sixers is going to be Jimmy Butler, is going to be PG-13. I mean, this is all the same stuff. It's all the same narratives. It's all the same things. We know all about it. We know all about it. But we continue to dive in. We continue to dive in. Now I do see the other end, right? I see the other end where we say, hey, you know what? I want to hear what Robbie E's got to say. Right? I get it. I understand. That's fine. That's different. That's understandable. I 100% agree. I do the same thing. I think that there should be specific people that shouldn't be allowed to talk. Like, honestly, just should not be allowed to have a microphone. Here's the thing. What if we used their tactics against them? What if we used their tactics against them? What if we went on here and we wrote these ridiculous headlines, right? Stuff that we really didn't believe in, and we just put it out there. So basically, what we'll do is, 90% or 95% of the programs that suck, we're going to take their headlines that they trashed about, okay, and we're going to use them, and we're going to see what we get, and then maybe we can just use their same logic. But see, here's the problem: then we're frauds. Why we want to do that? Then we're frauds because then we're using and abusing the best fan base in the world. Like, and that's what really bothers me. I say it all the time. Like, I don't know how Hugh Douglas does it. I have no idea how Hugh does it. It must take so much for Hugh Douglas to not say anything. It must take a ton, because we already know that he doesn't believe that garbage, and he laughs. He tries to laugh it off, and I understand, but it's not that easy, man. It is not that easy. And then some of the things that are being said. What? Like, here's what finally made me stop. What finally made me stop was when I realized, okay, that they couldn't even answer their own arguments, some of them. They were giving you wrong material. They were talking about the wrong thing. They didn't have the right premise, didn't have the right statistics. And you know what? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm old school. Call me an old dog. It's all good, but I expect better. I expect so much better. And I think it's a travesty that, you know, I call people out and I continue to say it. You have people on the dial that can't even get any airplay, although they're on Fox 29 as a newscaster. So Devin Caney, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, who was holding it down on Memorial Day with Robbie E. She's on Fox on the weekends. And when you hear the morning show, they try to make everything a parody about her. She's a very intelligent sports mind. She's done a lot of things, from hockey to lacrosse to soccer to baseball to football. Like, Devin's been around, man. She gets it. She understands. And here's the thing: she understands Philadelphia, but they don't let her talk. Instead, I got to go on there and I gotta see a high hopes pod or whatever talking about, should we be concerned? Like, come on, man, come on. Like, are you kidding? Seriously? Like, you take Mr. Philly, you're taking Mr. Think about it. You're taking Mr. Philly and Jack Fritz, and what you're doing is now you're making him believe that he should be concerned. That's not what he's about. And guess what? If he is, he's a really good actor, man. He's a really good actor. You see how they flip flop all the time, but they get us believing in it. And by the way, the only reason why I had that on was because I thought Rob and Ashley Sullivan were on at 7 o'clock. And it was because the game ran over a little bit. So the post game ran over. So I heard, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Right? No, off, back to Spotify. We'll wait for Robbie E to come on. So I'm just curious again to how many people watch the dial, or I should say, listen to the dial. How many people out there continue to listen to the garbage? Because unfortunately, and again, I'm a guy who respects the industry. I do, but I don't respect it when you make a mockery of the industry. I don't respect it when you feed off the passion of the Philadelphia people. When you feed off that passion, and guess what? You feed off the passion and you turn it against us. How do you sleep at night? I guess I know how. You continue to get renewed. The show continues to get renewed. It's so funny. Like I say this all the time, but there's a reason why certain people are always on, right? There's a reason why. It's not because they have good numbers. It's because they're yes people, right? That yes sir, I'll do that. Yes sir, absolutely. Yes sir, I'll do that. Yes sir, I'll do that. See, they're getting to the point where they just feel like their platform is big enough to where they don't need any personalities, right? They have a platform and they take that platform and they sell you on the platform. If you're an aspiring, right? If you're an aspiring radio host, they sell you on a platform. You come here and everybody's going to follow you. Everybody's going to jump all over you. Everybody's going to gravitate towards you. We're going to pay you peanuts, but everybody's going to be here, right? And I get it. You make a sacrifice. I understand that completely. Okay. And I highly recommend it if you're just getting out of school and you're going into that area. I do. But when you're, an established person later in the game and you're not in the clique, okay, it's a little harder. It's a little harder. And so some people fall into that trap, like a Joe Giglio, and make these fabricated, ridiculous BS statements so people can continue to play off them. And the numbers go up and the phone lines light up. Like think about this honestly. If you're listening to this right now and you understand what I'm talking about, great. If you don't, right? If you don't, think about it this way. If you need a specific amount of numbers to make, listen, when you're in business, you have stockholders, right? When you're in radio, you have advertisers. You need to make the advertisers happy. How do the advertisers get happy? They want to hear numbers. They want to hear how many listeners, what's the viewership, right? So that's your number one focus. And I understand, right? You're in it to run a business. I get it. But why should those companies be happy to know that they didn't get the numbers because people like the product? They got the numbers because you fabricated your arguments to boost up those calls. So technically, those numbers are fake. Technically, those numbers aren't realistic. So now, at the end of the day, what you have done, and I've been in these meetings, okay? I've been in these meetings. I'm telling you that right now. At the end of the day, what you've done is you've sold an inferior and incredible and a product that's fake to a sponsor or an advertiser who thinks those numbers are real. It's a shame. It's where we're at. But people continue to listen. They continue to get in the car. People, we have Bluetooth right now. Okay. There is a thing called auxiliary inputs. Man, do yourself a favor. Listen to something real. Okay. And if you're going to put on the dial, listen to people that actually can give you some really good material. Okay. Like I told you, like a Rob Ellis, like a Bob Cooney. Okay. They're the people you want to listen, like a Devin Caney, like a Ashley Sullivan. I say all the time, I like Hunter Brody. I'm a Brody guy. I like Broads. I listen. A lot of people say he's a little over the top. It is what it is, man. But he grinds, and guess what? I enjoy him. I do. A lot of people don't like Tyrone. That's fine. I don't think the name is good for the show, but I like Tyrone. I think he's a very knowledgeable person. I don't think he treats the callers the way he should at times. And but listen, who cares? He's getting callers. He's not fabricating arguments. I don't think he is. When they made the Buddy Hield trade, when they got all Buddy Hield and they got Cam and Tyrone was one of the first people I've said all the time to break it down in a very realistic way. Not everybody was able to do that. And honestly, the way he broke it down is exactly the way it came out. So I do listen to that. Okay. I do. But that's about it. I'm going to be honest with you. That is about it. I don't think I listen to anything else whatsoever because I know that this is all going to be statements and everybody's going to have an agenda that's based on false pretenses. And I refuse to buy it. Refuse to buy in. Tony Cutillo, again, late nights right here on HRS. And if you just went, okay, like think about this, okay? If you go to their page right now, it's very interesting. Very interesting. Like you just got to think about what they're doing. Okay. Now, the other day, think about this on the High Hopes pod. What we had was we had the question, should we be concerned? Now we got everything's going to be okay. Think about it. There's the flip flop, right? There's the flip flop. Joe Giglio wants to put baseball's best 1, 2, 3, 4. Now he's all bought in, right? The other day, different scenario. Okay. Like again, like there's so many bull s statements again that it gets tired. Like here we go. Is 2024 actually a make or break year for Jalen Hurts as the Eagles quarterback? Really? Why are we even asking that? Seriously, why are we even asking that? But again, people buy in. I can't go over it anymore, man. I just, again, I just want to know who listens to the radio. I stand against the dial. I do, except for those few people. Honestly, I like those few people that I mentioned, and I'm sure there'll be more as they come up. But besides that, man, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Make sure number one, you're fighting for overtime. You're fine fighting for overtime. If you're into youth sports and you understand the mental health aspect, it's a brand new pod that I've started. Getting a big reception from it. I'd appreciate it. If you joined in, obviously. And as always, if you're a sports bettor, let us turn your love of sports into a profit center right at windailysports.com. In the description, you'll see the reference code. You can get a 5-day trial. Football's coming up. Tell people that's up. Football is coming up. And as football comes up, we're going to have to look into this and get you ready in order to start getting those props in, getting those bets in. Everything when it comes to fantasy football, we're going to have you covered. So the best way now is to get in early. Get that 5-day trial so you can see what we're doing. As you know, I'm the host of Fantasy Firebox. We drop the home run props every day. We're doing parlays. We're having some fun. And listen, I'm not going to kill you with analytics. I'm going to give you exactly what I look for. I share my screen. I don't lie. Show you what I'm looking at. Show you what I understand. And hopefully pass that knowledge on to you so you'll understand. Hopefully you'll win as well. So HRS late nights, just a quick topic. Want to dive in, talk about the dial, why we should stand against the dial. 95% of the radio is fabricated. People are taking advantage of you. Don't let it happen. Everybody have a fantastic evening, and we'll catch you back here next.